Question 1, we're looking for the multiple of 4, something in the 4 times table. 20. Part B, which is the square number? Go back and check. It's 9. 3 times 3 is 9. Part C, over the page, that was a bit sneaky of them. 2 numbers that make a total of 43, so that's adding them. So best thing to do is just have a go. Pick one of the numbers, that's too high. Okay, 33, you'd have to add 10. That's not in the list, so it can't be 33. If you pick 3, it'd have to be 40. If you pick 29, it'd have to be 14. Bingo, they're both in the list. 14 and 29. Don't miss that mark just because it's over the page. Part D, largest divided by smallest. The biggest mistakes from here come from the fact that you haven't checked that the largest is 45 and the smallest is 3. So then you do 45 divided by 3 equals 15. Question 2, we're measuring the square. You can either measure it in centimeters and convert, or you can count along in your millimeters. So it comes to 5.4 centimeters, and there are 10 millimeters in a centimeter, so it comes to 54. Now we're measuring the smallest angle. So first decide which is the smallest, then measure it with your protractor, 50 degrees. And we are counting area now by counting squares. So first we count the full squares. And we get 12 full squares. And then we need to count our half squares. And I colour them in. There's 6 half squares, which means 3 full squares. Add them together. You got 15. Next question, we need a rectangle that's got a perimeter of 20. In the question, it's just cut off there. It says that 1 square is 1 centimeter. So that means I can just count. That's 7 squares. That must be 7 centimeters. So what would it be if I added the 2 together and then doubled it to make the perimeter? The only number that fits is 3, because 7 plus 3, then times 2 equals 20. That's the perimeter. And you can always check it afterwards by counting. Okay, now remember that a negative times a negative equals a positive, and you'll be fine with this. Minus 4 times minus 3 is 12. 6 times minus 5 just gives minus 30. Minus 8 times minus 8 equals 64. And then 10 to the power 3 means a 1 and 3 zeros. 1,000. $18 out of 30 as a fraction, and then we'll simplify it for our second mark. So out of is just the line in a fraction. So we go 18 out of 30. There's the first mark. Simplest form just means we need to divide the top and the bottom by the same number till we get the smallest version, 3/5, 3 over 5. Okay, good. A wordy question now. So we have the normal price of the pen and the normal price of a calculator. And then the discount prices of the pens and the discount price of the calculator in the box. So we'll deal with those first. 12p is half the price of a normal pen, and £5.50 is the discount price of the calculator. Then we do the discount pens times by 5, which is 60p. 60p, not £60. Let's convert that into pounds though, 0.60, so that we can just add it in a column and we get a realistic amount, £6.10. Great. Moving on, fractions, simple fractions. We need to multiply together the bottom of the fraction and the whole part to get 15. Then add on the 2 to give you 17/5, top heavy. Now, decimals to fractions, these are quite nice. So you just put it simply over 100 and check it for simplified. It was. Okay, good. Another wordy one. Misha records the main type of weather for 55 days. And the block image there means 4 days. So let's work out what she's got so far. 16 days there, 10 days there, and 18 days there. And that adds up to 44. which means that there are 11 days left to put down. And it says sun was recorded on one more day than fog. So we need a number that is one more than the other number where they add together to make 11. So 6. 6 is one more than 5. Go back to the question. That's for sun. And now we just draw it in using their system. So we've got a window looking thing, and then half of it to make 6, and a window looking thing, and a quarter of it to make 5. That's the whole question. You've got space down there to work out if you need to. Okay, substitution question now. So we've been given P, put P into there, and we've been given W, but watch out with your minus signs. So you've got 5 times P minus W. We're going to do the 5P first, 20, and then take away 2, 18. Next one. We need to make sure it says the same. So let's just copy it down. T equals 5P minus W. So this time we're given T, which is on the left-hand side of the equals sign. And we don't know what P is, so we leave it as P. And then we take away the W. And then we need to move the minus 10 over to the other side. So we're adding 10. So it becomes minus 30 equals 5P. And now you need to divide by 5 on both sides, giving minus 6. Question 9, we're matching up another fractions, decimals, and percentages question for this. So starting off with 1/2, that is the same as 10 over 20. And then 1/4, 0.25, like 25%, isn't it? 1/5 is 20%. Nice 3 marks. Okay, this is a great question. It's basically BIDMAS, and then you multiply them together and you get 3 marks for it, which is quite nice. So most important thing to do is times and divide first. So we will bracket that off. Do that first, 24, then add the 2, 26. And in the second one, we've got brackets, so we do that first, meaning we've got 21 minus 11 equals 10. So now we just need to do A times B, giving us 260. Nice 3 marks. Okay, question 11, converting. Now, whenever we convert from one unit to another, it's literally a ratio question. So write it out like a ratio question. You got 7 gallons to some amount of liters, that's your job, is the same as 1 gallon to 4.5 liters. And then you can just look what has happened. So from 1 gallon to 7, you times by 7, which means you need to do 4.5 times 7. Now, with this being a non-calculator paper, you can do 4.7 added together 7 times in a big old column. What I like to do is split up my whole part and my decimal part like that, and then add them together. Either way, as long as you get 31.5. And make it clear. Question 12, going from 120 to 240, what's the percentage increase? So the amount has been added is £120, which is 100% of the original, which means your percentage increase is 100%. Okay, a lovely ratio question. You can tell because you've got the colons there. You have orange to apple to lime, 5 to 2 to 3. And then we're going to compare these numbers to what we've got in your chart. So for orange, it comes up as 20. And for apple, 8. So what's happened here from 5 to 20, we've times by 4. So we're going to do the same for lime, giving us 12. And then you have to just draw it in, make sure it's on the right part, color it in. And wouldn't it be fantastic if you used a ruler and made it nice and neat? Okay, we are looking at statistics now. Comparisons. We want to know what is the mean, what is the range, and how does that differ between the guests and the members? We've got 3 comparisons to do, so we might as well look at just the percentages of the visitors as well. So we are making sentences out of maths. We can say that there were more members than there were guests by looking at the percentages. We can also say on average, the members spend more time because they are spending a mean of 4 compared to 2.5 hours than the guests. And then when we look at range, a smaller range means less difference in the group, and a larger range means more difference in the group. So the range of the guests' hours spent there is larger, which means they are different to each other. Members are less varied, members are more consistent. Okay, an area question for 3 marks. So we have to find the area of the shaded part as a percentage of the whole rectangle. So you could imagine a piece of paper and it's had a hole cut out of it, and we're finding out the percentage that has remained. We can make some nice notes to make it easy for us to keep on track and for our work to be marked nicely. The full rectangle, the area of that is 4 times 5 equals 20 centimeters squared. Then we need to find the area of the cutout middle, which is 2 times 3 equals 6 centimeters squared. So the shaded part is the full bit minus the whole. 20 minus 6. Shaded is 14 centimeters squared. And now what is this as a percentage of the whole thing? 14 out of 20, timesing the top and the bottom by 5, and you get 70 out of 100, which means 70%. Okay, I see miles, I see minutes, I see the word speed. So I'm going to first write down speed equals distance over time in my formula triangle. I need speed, which means the other 2 that are left is distance divided by time. Distance is nicely enough in miles, but the time is not. It's in minutes. 20 minutes is a third of an hour, so we have to divide by a third. Dividing by a third means timesing by 3. 18 times 3 equals 54 miles per hour. Next up, one of my favorites, it's geometry, but you've got to use algebra effectively. So this angle here that I've just marked is 5 times bigger than the second angle I've marked. So we'll use the one that it references as x, and the whole 5 times bigger, that's 5x, which makes it nice for our third sentence where it says that it's 3 times bigger, so that's 3x. So we've set it up, and we're using x because we don't know what that angle is. So we've turned these words and these pictures into algebra. We might have 2 marks out of 3, possibly just 1 right now. So adding them together, x plus 5x plus 3x. 9x equals 180 degrees, which is how much you've got on a straight line, giving x as 20 degrees. However, we need to check what they wanted. Where is E, B, D? And it's the larger one at 5x. So we times it by 5 and you've got 100 degrees. Main thing about that is do not measure it. It's said not to scale. Next question. This is a good trial and error. That's why there's 3 marks. So you've got 2 prime numbers multiplied together. The answer has got to be even, and you've got to have the answer between 50 and 60. So the best idea would be to write down the prime numbers that you could be using. This is why I've written down the word ideas like that. I've written down the prime numbers up to 19, and then I'm going to have I think and go, you know what, I might need a bit more because I've got to get up to 50. To make a number even when we multiply, one or both of the numbers have to be even, and 2 is the only even prime. So one of the numbers has to be 2, which means it's got to be 2 times 25 up to 2 times 30. What prime do I have between 25 and 30? 29. And that's not enough. We just need to write the answer to 58. So I want to see lots of trial and error in that space for working out. Okay, this is a good one. It's a ratio question and they've made the names A and B, which is just fantastic. So we're writing down that first sentence vertically, A to B, 5 to 6. Now we need to look at the second sentence. £96 goes to Bruce. We put that underneath. Immediately, I want to check how much that's been multiplied by on the right-hand side so I can do the same on the left. So we've multiplied by 16, which means do it on the left as well. So that means A gets 80. Now we can move on to giving some of the money away to person C. So a quarter of 80 goes to person C, a quarter of 80 is 20, and 2/3 of 96 goes to C as well. So when we're finding a third, first of all, we're just dividing by 3. Again, we can use the bus stop method for this. And then 2/3 of it would be double 32, giving us 64. So now all we need to do is add the two amounts that Carl, person Z, was given. 20 plus 64 gives us £84. Lots to do there, but if we take it a sentence at a time, no problem whatsoever. Okay, now we have a scatter graph. First of all, it's going to ask us the type of correlation. We've got weak and strong, positive and negative. Going up means positive. And then close together is strong, so strong, positive. Part B. Players get 1 life for every 2,000 points they score. So the scale up there is in its thousands. Good to note. Journal plays for 15 hours. So let's go and plot that on the graph, 15. It says you're going to use a line of best fit. So you're going to use a ruler. It's going to be a beautiful line, better than mine. And you're going to go up from the 15 until you hit that line. And then you go across left to see where you land. And we are saying it's around 36. If you get 35, that's fine. You'll get the follow through and you'll get the whole thing. So 35 or 36 means 36,000 as said by the label on the axis. And for every 2,000 of those points, there's an extra life. So how many 2,000s are there in 36,000? Cancelling down those thousands, so you got 36 divided by 2, which gives you 18 extra lives. Another favorite, it's algebra. And there's something that just happens to me when I see algebra, and I just have to write it down in my own handwriting for some reason. And then I can just directly work underneath. So bear with me whilst I just copy down the question. 5 squared, first thing, 25. So you've got 2 to the power A times 3 times 25 equals 600. At this point, I want to divide by 25 to make it easier. How many 25s are there in 100? That is 4. So that means there are going to be 24 25s in 600. So now we're left with 2 to the A times 3 equals 24. And now it's looking nice, right? We divide both sides by 3. So we've got 2 to the A equals 6. So now how many 2's times by itself equals 8? That is 2 to the power 3. So that means A is 3. Don't write 8 on the line. You want to write 3 on the line. Next question is expanding simplify. These brackets do not multiply together. I want you to treat them like 2 separate questions. Left-hand side, 5 times 3x equals 15x, and 5 times 4 equals 20. Right-hand side, let's copy it out just to make it super clear. We've got minus 2 times x gives us minus 2x, and then minus 2 times minus 1 is positive 1. Now putting those back together, we've got 15x minus 2x, giving us 13x, and 20 plus 2 equals 22. Next up, we are getting to our super tricky questions. So this is looking at a reciprocal graph, y equals 1 over x. And we have to make 2 criticisms of the graph. So the first criticism is that this graph should not touch the axis. It never meets. It's called an asymptote. It never meets. Shouldn't touch. And the second criticism is the left part of the graph should be in the negative quadrant. It shouldn't be all positive. Next one is all about forming equations. So you are given sentences and it's your job to put them into algebra. So we'll start with Sunita, and she is X years old, as it says in the very first sentence. Is an equal sign usually in maths. Next, we've got Beth, who is 1 year younger, so X minus 1 for Beth. And Joel, who is double Sunita, so that's 2 times. So Joel equals 2x. Third sentence, dealt with. The mean of their ages is 5, which means when you add them all together and then you divide by 3, because there's 3 people, you get 5. So we're going to do that. We're going to add Sunita plus B plus J. I've forgotten their names already. Divide by 3 of them, set that equal to 5 because that's what the question says. And now let's do some tidying up, really, rearranging. So we're going to times that 3 out from underneath the bottom to get equals 15 on the right-hand side. We're going to collect all of our x's together. 4x minus 1 equals 15. We're going to move that minus 1 over. So you've got 4x equals 16. Therefore, x equals 4. But wait, is that what they wanted? No, they wanted Joel's age, and he's double that. So Joel is 8, double 4. That's what we're looking for. Okay, last question. Let's do this. Mixed number. So we've got 2 and a third. We're going to multiply the 2, the whole part, by the denominator to get 6. Add the numerator, and then we've got 7 thirds. So 2 and a third equals 7 thirds. There's your first mark. Then you're going to keep, flip, change. Keep the first one, change that sign, flip that second one, and that's nice. You just times the tops and times the bottoms, but wait, go back and put it into a mixed number. So you've not got full marks just yet. So we have 2 full ones and then 11 twelfths left over. And that is all, folks. Well done.